Okay, folks, for this demonstration, I'm yet again using oil paint. I still have raw umber on the palette from a previous demonstration, so I'm just going to leave it there. The colors I am using, this is a limited palette painting, are for my cool colors, I'm going to use purple. For my warm colors, I'm going to use orange. And to adjust the values, I'm going to use white. Since the umber is there, the raw umber, I'll probably be hitting it too, so let's see how it goes. Just grab a couple of brushes. Let's see, a big square one, tiny little detail brush, and a medium brush. That's probably all I'm going to use. Maybe I'll leave my rubber scraping tool out. So I'm just going to dip the brush in some purple. Have a quick thought as to what I want to do. I'll just, talk amongst yourself while my brain gets in gear. I have no idea what to do. So when that happens, probably the best thing to do is just throw some paint on it and don't worry about it. There you go. How you like that approach? Obviously, it's going to be a landscape because I feel like with, oops, oh, I hit umber, oh darn, didn't take long. You can get away with painting almost anything with a landscape as long as you make some kind of effort to make it look real. Unlike trying to paint a dog or a person or a vehicle or building or something that people would perhaps immediately realize you can't paint. You can fake a landscape to an amazing degree. And I find that, I do think about what type of tree I might be trying to represent. But I do not sit here and go, oh, there's a pine tree, there's an oak tree, there's an ash, there's a birch. I usually don't do that. I usually just kind of allow myself to follow some sort of instinct if I have any left. All right, so I'll wipe out something I'm going to say is sky, so I want to remove quite a bit and leave. There we go. Maybe come down a little lower here. All right, I'm seeing it. Are you seeing it? All right. Here we go. Purple. Create these leafy parts where they're directing towards the trunk of the tree. Over here, it's just background noise here. Yeah, get a little orange back there. Yeah, make it a little brown. Because that's the whole point of, again, the purple being the cool color and the orange being the light color mixed with white. Together, they make a nice brown. So you can see how that kind of works. Using this brush very loosely. Trying to create some shapes, some obvious leaf patterns with the orange and purple. Pulling my brush strokes towards the center of what might be considered the tree mass. Okay, so then let's see, maybe I'll switch to a brush here, nice little round brush, and create some trunk, suggestion of a tree trunk in here. And some limbs, etc., something like that. I think what's going to happen with this bottom is I'm just going to, look how the paint is running. In fact, I think I'm just going to put dribble some paint thinner on that and let this paint run a little bit. This can sometimes be a fun effect. Might dissolve the color a little bit, dry funny, and give you something to work with. All right, so sky. Which brush did I? Oh, I didn't, so I'll just grab another one. So I'm gonna take some white, and I think I'm just gonna plug it into this lower area of the sky. In between, peekaboo, in between. Coming through the leaves here and there, you know, you have to do that. See this, where the sky is peeking through here? In fact, I'm probably gonna lower the sky. See how quickly that changes? That changed my mind. It's okay, it's allowed. You're working with oil paint, you can do anything. And just kind of scrub some of this color up here until I run out of paint. But I just remember, just keep on painting. You don't even need paint on your brush. You just need to steel paint from down here. And it looks like I'm about out of even paint that I can steal. So, reaching for the orange. I'm just gonna dash it in like that. Meteorites, I know. And I'm gonna swirl it in. Swirl it in, something like that. I want those colors to all kind of fold together, so to speak. You got to hit all these areas that you visited before. You got to revisit them. Blend that all together. See how that orange and blue kind of turns to a blue. It's not blue. Orange and purple turn to a nice gray. A little too much orange, so I'm gonna go back, add a little bit of this purple because I want this gray to happen. Even a little bit more right there. And I just changed my light direction from the left to the right, so because I just darkened up this side. So I'm gonna just darken up this whole side a little bit. Make it as if my light source is coming from over here. You see how different that is? Okay. A little bit too much brush work, but you know, too much visible brush work, but you know, sometimes that's really fun. It creates this dynamic, this energy. You know, sunlight blasting the molecules. Okay, so something like that. So, you can see the mess I have on the bottom, where I let through this paint thinner on here. So I need to come back and just kind of suggest this some textural elements. I'm gonna also make my tree taller. So this is painting with a limited palette. I generally like the purple and the orange. Painting with a limited palette like this is a little bit like painting with the monochromatic. I'm gonna certainly come back later and add other colors, but this is just a fun way to figure out what you want to do. So I got some nice strong lavender in there now. Gives you a little bit more foreground foliage. Maybe we'll bring up there. See, it's like another bit of brush back there. Something like that. And yes, I get carried away. And then whenever I use another color, I like to introduce it somewhere else. I'm also pulling these brush strokes kind of towards the corner because I'm trying to create this energy goes like that, and then it's going to go like that. And it's a way of controlling what the viewer looks at, how they feel about the painting, whether they are engaged with the painting or not. And then I think, let's see, I'm gonna stick with this. I'm using a large round brush, so I'm gonna stick with that. I'll start over here and try to create some more dark bits. And it's just so tempting to add the burnt umber to really give me some nice dark, so, but actually raw umber, I think it does, to give me some nice darks here. I'm gonna go in here and just create this leafy pattern, a suggestion of leaf groups. Same thing over here. Again, remembering my light is coming from the right. So I want to darken up things on the left and on the bottom edge, and etc. Then once again, some of that dark I'm going to put in a couple of other places. And by the same token, if I can find a clean brush, oh, there it is. That's a dirty brush. So we'll clean it up. Get some orange and some white. Let's see what that gives us. And just kind of come over here and create some of the lighter leaf effects. Paint it right on over everything else, and we let this will push the darks into the background a little bit and create the highlights over here. Same thing over here. Put the paint on fairly thick. And still, again, use that color in other places. And then I'm going to come back with this just pure raw umber and get in here and strengthen up some of these limbs and trunk. Play with where the trunk may hide and seek in the midst of the leaves. And then move into a smaller brush. More of the same. Sometimes you just have to lay the brush in and pull it like that because the paint is so wet. Sometimes you try to paint with a nice soft brush and it doesn't even want to take, so you gotta kind of lay it in there like this sometimes. You might even hold the brush like this and just kind of pull in that limb. Same thing over here. And then of course we always have some kind of upright sapling or something else growing here, so we give it some texture. Excuse me. Give it some vertical excitement. See how that works? Got all this paint thinner running off the edge here, so soak that up a little bit. All right, continuing with some. It's kind of tempting to go do a little something else like that, so do a little pine tree here or something. Maybe a little more purple. gonna make one here stronger. All right. And then of course, always looking for that little rubber tip tool, because I can come in here and draw in some nice little highlights of these branches, suggesting all these other little bits where the light may be filtering through. You can even do this with leaf. In fact, let's do some of them. You can even create all this leaf pattern like that. I'm actually pressing down and pushing away like this. So I'm manipulating all that paint that I had before and trying to break up that surface a little bit. Adds a little bit more variety of texture, surface texture, whatever it is you want to call it. And I'm going away from the trunk and pushing out like that, so it looks like they're actually growing in that direction. See what a nice little trick that is? Takes a little practice. But when I glaze over this, let's say I put a green glaze over this or some kind of reddish fall color or something, all this stuff kind of melds together and becomes all that much more interesting. So we'll just keep doing that. Every now and then you probably should wipe off the tip. Come over here, same, more of the same. I'm basically squeegeeing off paint. That's why you gotta wipe that tip sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with pulling a few light trees out from the background like that. You know, some faraway trunks. But if you do that, you sort of need to soften up or put something on top of them. You know, oops, how about some purple? Yeah. Need to give them a little texture so they look like they're actually there. All right, so maybe one more little thing. Let's see, what's it gonna be? I do have to put a suggestion of a trunk in these trees. See? Just pulling it down, letting it play hide and seek like that. Okay. So, one more thing. Kind of clean my brush. Take some purple and white once again. A little bit more white. And maybe, because I want this, maybe the light over here, I want it to be peeking through a little bit more. I don't want that background, whatever it is, to be quite so dark. So we got our sunlight over here. So coming in here and just kind of lightening up all of this little peekaboo area, all these little places peeking through from the other side. You know, and you just got to really use your imagination and try to think what might be back there, why you might be seeing this, and why not, and where it may or may not show. And all I can tell you is something that comes with time. I think lastly, maybe drag some bright orange into this upper part of the field. Again, just to create variety, break it up a little bit. And I think, am I done? I'm done for now. Obviously, I'm gonna come back and work on this another day. This is more or less a limited palette underpainting using cadmium orange and some kind of purple that I can't pronounce. It starts with a D, and white. And I did use raw umber, so it's a fairly limited palette. another time I'm actually going to do one with ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. It's amazing, you know, and white, of course. It's amazing how much color you can get out of, you know, a warm and a cool color. All right, so that's going to be it for that one for now. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.